Welcome to the Will Studios. I'm Will. And I've already started and stopped a couple of times, uh, which I'm blessed because shake the cobwebs off. I haven't streamed in a while. I've been thinking a lot about what I'm doing with this channel, whether or not I should keep doing these draw streams. Currently, I'm thinking, okay, start a new channel, start commenting on news stories, current events, just anything I can find, really, because, I'll just scroll through Twitter or whatever and find something to talk about for 10 minutes a day. And that might be, that's going to be what I need to do. And I need to get on a schedule to get that done so that I can get a goddamn audience together and sell my comic book. I'll be doing it here. And that'll allow me to, network with other streamers, that sort of stuff. But I also need to be on, like, Instagram and stuff like that. TikTok. I have this, my X window pulled up because I was in the middle of, when I started streaming before this, and I drew for a little bit, and then I freaking pulled up my Twitter account because I started talking about whether I even want to promote myself on Twitter as far as comic books are concerned, or X. I should start saying X. If I should bother promoting myself on X for my comic book, I will, but it does mean that I gotta deal with this bullshit, because the indie comic scene on Twitter, anyway, I've spoken to independent comic book people outside of Twitter. A lot of them don't even know what the fuck the Rippaverse is. They know Ethan Van Sciver because he was a pro for a long time, but never heard of the Rippaverse. And the Rippaverse is kind of how I became aware of, like, Comicsgate and stuff in the first place. Like, Eric July, YouTuber, not a fan of the mainstream, not a fan of wokeness, blah, blah, blah. He said some things I agree with on his YouTube channel a few times. I was never a huge fan of his, but I didn't hate him or anything. I still don't hate him. Some people do. Some people feel like they've been ripped off and cheated out of their money for subpar products, and they've decided to devote a portion of their lives to hating his company. I did not invest much in his company. I bought one copy of ISOM for $20 and didn't like it, and so I don't have a personal beef with anybody. Definitely not the Rippaverse. So, but I'm not unaware of it. I'm not freaking blind. When I see a promo image, there was this picture that was put out, and it's clipped here, because I just went back through the comment thread, because this dude is telling me that it's not AI. Anyone looking at this thing for more than a few seconds could reasonably start thinking that it's AI. I said that it looked AI. I said that Eric July is running a comic book factory, and some of his artists appear to be using AI in their artwork, but who knows? It might be successful. Long term, we'll see if it's successful. This guy did not like that. Who is this? Enlightened Fan. He's enlightened. He's very enlightened. He has used this Hive moderation bot to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, in his mind and many others, that this is definitely not AI. Now, can I open the image? Can I zoom in? There we go. So, real quick. Right away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers on the top of this dude's hand. Now that sixth finger, the other big one, looks like it should be from the hand behind that hand. Okay? But it wasn't inked that way. And it looks stupid. It looks AI. Even before you get to the sixth finger, he has an extra finger. Like his pinky is split into two different fingers, and then he's got a pointer, middle, and ring finger up top. Then look at, okay, so his batons. His left boot seemed odd to me. Like, why is the tip of it's going above the baton? His foot appears to be flat on the surface. How is the tip of the... I mean, that's a metal bat, right? Like, if this really wasn't AI, which, okay, I buy it. Like, let's just say a human being created this image whole cloth without any AI, because I didn't say that it was purely AI. I said the AI was used in the process. The artists seem to be using AI in their production, is what I said. And this dude comes in and starts up with this bullshit. Now I see... So, because the bat's gotta be like that, right? So what? It doesn't look right. It just doesn't fucking look right, dude. And then you look at the chair leg. You got the chair leg on the right side of the image just melting into the floor. So yeah, it fucking looks AI, dude. It just does. But anywho, I said that kind of in passing. I didn't expect it to, like, really bother anybody. But I guess this is such a hot issue for the Mac Club. The Mac Club is Eric July's fan club, by the way. That they will fight to try and get you to see that this is not an AI. No matter how many times you repeat yourself, it's going to stay that way. Move on. Your cognitive dissonance won't work on me. All I kept saying was, but look at the fingers. Like, literally, the only thing that can make this image not look AI is if a human being goes in and fixes the goddamn fingers. Fixes the fingers and the half dozen other little stupid shit that you're bound to find if you stare at it long enough. You know, you should have editors. That being said, you know, nobody says you can't run a successful comic book company with AI, you know. It's 100%, like, if they were just honest and saying, like, yeah, we use AI here, and, you know, I pencil it, and then the computer will do it, or whatever, put it through a filter, you know, what's the point of tracing over your artwork a bunch of times? Who knows? Who knows what they're going to say? I make comic books on an iPad, so what do I know about other people's processes? But yeah, the fucking thing definitely looks AI. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, and then I started asking if he was in the fucking Mac Club, because it's like people in the Mac Club, like, dude, it's one thing to be a fan of a YouTuber, whatever, but you're gonna pay for... I mean, plenty of people pay for YouTube memberships, like $5 a month, whatever. That seems reasonable, normal. But I've heard the Mac Club is like, what, $50 a month? Whatever, man. I'm fucking... Like I said, I'm tempted because of these dipshits that want to argue about obvious bullshit. I'm very tempted to start devoting time to disliking Eric July. But that's not fair. It's not his fault. I've never interacted with the guy. You know what I mean? It might be his fault. I don't know. I don't give that much of a shit. You know, good luck. Good luck to the Rippaverse. Okay? I hope you eventually produce a good story. But you don't really have to. Just keep making shiny looking pictures. Let's get back to my pictures. Because Because I've been going back and forth on the costume design for this little sprite for ages. And I thought I had settled on some kind of hair design here. But then I came up with it. Then I'm settling in. I think I've settled in on this. You can see it in blue. I was kind of designing it. It's going to kind of look like the original Cortana, where it's like got polygons and shit all over her body, where she looks like fucking futuristic techno. I kind of didn't want to do that from the outset because I like simple designs. I don't like over-designed things, you know. Who knows if I'll ever actually make it look good. I don't know. Anyway. Man, streaming takes it out of you when there's no chat. Anyway. See, you know I'm not using AI because I'm doing this live. You know, I'm putting it together. The flaws that you do find in my artwork happened naturally. It's not the effect of any computer not understanding how many fingers a person has, or whether the tip of a boot needs to go behind or above an object that's on the floor. I don't know if I like the arrow T looking thing. Does that mean something? Whatever. Out with the old costume. We're coming in with a new one. Yeah, the hair too. Hair's gotta change. I gave her the pigtails again. Is it wrong that I kind of miss annoying that guy? Because he was so adamant. Like, he posted that screenshot of that AI thing probably like 6 or 7 times, trying to hammer it home to me that it was indeed not AI. But the fingers, man. Like, look at it. Look at the picture. It literally screams AI. I see the fucking 0% thing. But come on. That image will always look like it was produced with AI. Like, the internet kind of sucks sometimes, man. But it's just human nature. because I would love to. I would love to be able to go online and sell my comic book to people. You know? Talk to people, whatever. Get to know some fans. But it's the real world, man. It's not this fantasy world in my head where people aren't gonna be dishonest because they think they got something to gain from it, you know? Or because they get a little bit of enjoyment out of it. I don't know. Coming in and learning about Comicsgate, like, I learned about Comicsgate, which is an independent comic book movement that focuses on crowdfunding. You know, they just believe everyone should be able to make comic books. There's a bunch of pros that got canceled after the Trump election because they were Republicans. But I guess it was only a matter of time before they started fighting amongst one another. And if I wanna talk comic books on Twitter, it's like I'm gonna have to pick a side, because it's like even if you don't say much, or if you don't say anything, you still end up getting drawn in to squabbles. People are still gonna be like, "You must love Ethan Van Sciver if you hate the Rippaverse." And it's all so stupid, man. Like, I'm not about that shit. I'm building my own battleship. I don't need to sit here and act like I owe anything to other people's business. Who knows, man? I don't fucking know. Let's just make some fucking comic books, dude. I thought that if I could make a comic book and people liked it, that would be it. That would be enough. And now I'm sitting here thinking, like, other things. Because sometimes I get the feeling, like, looking at Twitter, like comic book Twitter, it's like even the people that don't say much or don't say anything, they still end up getting judged, you know? They still end up getting thrown to one side or the other of this stupid fucking conflict, you know? Eric doesn't think he should have to listen to critics who are assholes, you know? Dick and Vito, the biggest problem people. But the review was accurate. That's what I think shouldn't be denied. Like, biggest problem in the universe. Yeah, they pick lolcows to go after, because that's how they build their audience. And they chose Eric as a right-wing grifter lolcow. Eric July has been ranting about woke shit forever. A lot of people find that insufferable, and they see those guys as like right-wing grifters. They're like, okay, these guys are just gonna rant and be angry at Hollywood without ever offering an alternative. And then one of them offers an alternative, and it's not the best. And so, naturally, these guys are going to make fun of it. But the review was accurate. You know, there's really no way around it. Like when Release comes out, like let's say I make enemies. Let's say this enlightened fan guy decides that he's gonna hate me forever. Um, I'm gonna have to just be like, okay, and then just sort of take it. You know, like the last thing I'm gonna be is a hypocrite. But I would watch a review, and if they said anything true, I would just, I might say fuck you in public. Like if you were an asshole. Like if Eric July came out and just said, fuck you, dick. You know what I mean? Then that would have been it. But the fact that he wanted Ethan Van Sciver to stop associating with these people over the whole thing, that's where I think he's off it. That's where I think he's just he's not winning with me. You can't dictate other people's relationships, you know? And the fact that his whole network launched into just a smear campaign against crowdfunded books like CG, specifically Ethan, because Ethan Van Sciver promised a comic book back in 2020, and then he stopped working on it and started working on another comic book. And that pissed some people off, and some people are just never gonna not be pissed about it. And I kind of get that, but I also understand that Ethan is an artist, and like I'll stop working on a project, start working on another one all the time. I get that impulse, and the thing that he worked on, because I wasn't there when it happened, but my interpretation of the chain of events is that he was working on Cyberfrog 2 and then collected money for Rainbow the Brute before he had even really started working very much on it, before he had really anything done on it, and then was inspired to expand the Cyberfrog 2 book and put Rainbow the Brute on hiatus because he's only one dude, you know? And yeah, that pissed some people off, man. But I haven't read Wrecked Planet. I read Blood Honey. But I haven't picked up Wrecked Planet yet. I'll be honest, I'm a story guy. I love the artwork. I love Ethan Van Sciver's artwork. But what I really want and what I want to bring to the indie comic space is a great story. Like, I think I have a great story. I'm not the best artist. I'm working hard to get better. But I got a lot of work to do. I was not interested in a Cyberfrog version of The Walking Dead with giant hornets. It didn't grab me. I'm more interested in it because Cyberfrog 3 is coming out soon and the toys look pretty good. Now that he's actually producing Rainbow the Brute, like of all the things that Ethan is selling, I think comic book wise, Fearsome is what grabbed my attention the most. It seems to have a really cool concept, kind of like the Max in a way, because it's like this dude with a counterpart living in like another realm that I guess when he falls asleep is when he's able to travel into this other world or whatever. But it looks cool. It's not drawn by Ethan Van Sciver. It's drawn by a different guy, who I guess is faster than Ethan. And Ethan can just focus on Cyberfrog. It's so hard to talk and draw, dude. The talk streams I need to be talking about something. Because my pen's not moving. Anywho. The Rainbow the Brute figures look great. Fearsome looks like a great comic book. Elephant looks like a great comic book. Maybe I'll come around and get Cyberfrog eventually. I'm waiting on Godlike. John Mallon made Godlike 2, and I bought 1 and 2. And I'm still waiting on fulfillment for that. But yeah, that's the way crowdfunders go. Like, depending on where you buy, because he funds for however many. I bought it pretty early in his funding period because I liked the concept. Godlike 1 has been out for a long time, but I didn't jump on it when it first came out. So I'll get to read 1 and 2 at the same time, and we'll see. Some people say that story is completely incomprehensible. I will be the judge of that. I like John Mallon's artwork. I think he's a cool guy. I don't know how his writing is. He was talking about... he brought up Thundar the Barbarian, which I loved as a kid. I was a huge Hanna-Barbera fan as far as, you know, I always had the Herculoids, freaking Space Ghost, and, like, the actual Space Ghost, freaking Blue Falcon. Yeah, there's so many. Hanna-Barbera made so many great ideas. Original concepts, like, it's kind of upsetting that it didn't catch on, like, super long term. It was obviously, like, they were super popular in the 90s or whatever. Back when I was watching them. But they all need to be remade. They all deserve live action remakes, animated remakes, whatever. Maybe not live action. They would be way better off animated. If they remade the Herculoids today, A, I should be in charge. But B, it better be like 3D animated. That I think that would be the best. Like, if you get the How to Train Your Dragon team, if you get DreamWorks on the project to do a Herculoids, that would be great. But yeah, Thundar the Barbarian. Thundar the Barbarian is a big inspiration for me too, because it's like, you know, thousands of years after the apocalypse, society comes back, and it's like a fantasy. It's a fantasy universe set in a post-apocalyptic universe, and so you got these guys. You know, the main character's a barbarian with a lightsaber, and he's got a Wookiee, essentially, that follows him around, and a couple of other, like, companions. And they'll be fighting a wizard in an abandoned mall, you know? Because this fucking wizard set up his evil operation in what used to be, like, Potomac Mills or something. And I think that was pretty fucking cool. I think there's a lot of potential. So, what I know about Godlike is that it's like 10,000 years in the future, and we're back into Conan times. And the main character's gonna get some Jack Kirby New God looking powers. So we'll see. We'll see what the story's actually like. Hopefully it's good, but if it's not, I'm gonna be on. You know, I don't worship these fucking people. You got dudes like the Enlightened fan who will not accept the fact that a picture of a dude with 7 fingers screams AI. It just fucking does. But I'm not that guy. Okay, I will 100% say if a person I like makes dog shit, I will say so. I don't hate. Well, I'm not going to bring those people up. I'm not going to start publicly hating on people unless they deserve it. Been ranting for 30 minutes. Barely drawn anything. One thing I kind of go back and forth on, because when I originally was thinking that I should make comic books, I was like, what's going to be different about my comic books? And I said, you should be able to read them on your cell phone. And so my word bubbles are huge, like compared to a normal comic book. And I think the preview issue I'll go ahead and put out that way and see what people say about it. Ultimately, I'm thinking I might have to shrink the word bubbles. If it's going to go into print, I have to shrink the word bubbles. Yeah, but I kind of wanted people to be able to read it on their cell phone. I wanted to revolutionize comic books in a way, because I think the old model is catering to a shrinking number of consumers. And then I get on Twitter and I get introduced to the Comicsgate crowdfunding method through Rippaverse, because freaking I was watching YouTube. I was watching the freaking Friday Night Tights people. And I didn't watch them often enough to realize that Ethan Van Sciver had been on their streams before. Like, after getting on Twitter and realizing these guys all had this, like, cozy relationship with one another once upon a time. It's kind of crazy. Because I was a fan of Ethan Van Sciver's from back in his DC days. Because Green Lantern was my favorite superhero way before he even became the artist on it, before they did Rebirth. But yeah, I guess he was on those streams too. But I find out about crowdfunding and it's like, okay, do I want to do a campaign? Do I want to do a campaign where I make probably $5,000 if I'm being realistic? Or do I want to go for trying to create maximum readership? Should I put it out as a webtoon? Because the webtoons are getting like millions of views. And it's because you can read them online on your cell phone screen. And I think most new comic book fans are going to be consuming it digitally. But am I going to make any money doing that? It's really hard to say. Because if I put it out there for free, like my initial idea was to put it out there for free to get maximum readership and then try to get like ad money or get the Patreon going, something like that. How did I envision this thing? The back of her head. Being a self-taught artist, one of the drawbacks is like, yeah, come up with your own methods of doing things. Sometimes you don't see the value of certain things. Like I made this sort of front back 3/4 profile character sheet so that I could try and design a new outfit for her, and then I neglected to do the head on the left side, and so now I'm stuck here trying to create the final piece, like wondering what it should look like from that angle. Of course, that's the level of thought I'm putting into the comic books. Like, if Eric July is going to, if his experience is going to be instructive in any way, maybe it's that I don't need to be putting that much fucking effort into this shit. I think that's part of what drives people crazy about Eric July, is the fact that he's like coming in and lowering the standards in a way. The standards were already pretty low. But the people who made low quality stuff generally did not make a boatload of money. Like, Eric's got a big enough fan base where he's making a boatload of money at the same time. Like, I might have to actually be good. I can't forgive myself for every mistake. Whereas I get the impression, looking at the Rippaverse stuff, that it's like they may have seen the stupid hand. How could you not see the stupid hand? And then the editor is just kind of like, go ahead. Put it out there. Nobody gives a fuck what this looks like, okay? They just can't wait to give us their money. These fucking pay pigs. That's how I imagine the Rippaverse, like, people talking about them. Rippaverse came out with these fucking, these things called Dokuman cards, which, if you know anything about the Marvel Universe, the Marvel Universe has Uatu the Watcher, right? Who watches over the Marvel Universe and knows all the secrets, and he's omniscient, you know what I mean? And so Dokuman was supposed to be that. He seemed like he was supposed to be that. He was supposed to be a ripoff of the Watcher because he was supposed to be some ethereal being that watches over the Rippaverse. But reading the Dokuman cards, the little, like, this is what Dokuman has to say about this person or this person. It's like he doesn't know literally anything. Like, he doesn't... It's like Dokuman only ever saw the trailer. Dokuman is supposed to be able to see everything that's going on, but he literally only saw the trailer that you just saw. So, you know, it's so, you know, it's a mystery where Yaira got her powers. It's like, dude, can you not at least even cryptically hint that she's an alien stranded here? Because from what I've seen of Yaira #1, I didn't bother reading it, obviously, but I've seen the clips, I've seen the freaking critiques of Yaira, and it seems like she has kind of a Superman plot, like an amnesiac superwoman, because these 3 other aliens show up to fight her, and then she blows them up with a oil rig or something. How'd I get on Yaira? What was I saying right before that shit? I can't remember. Anyway, good luck to the Rippaverse. See if I regain my train of thought there. This is why I need a chat. I need people to be like, you were just saying this about the Rippaverse. Oh yeah, Dokuman. Like, couldn't Dokuman fucking cryptically hint that she's a fucking alien? Instead of just having him not actually know anything? Whole thing. Just so silly. And I kind of want nothing to do with it, man. But I find it hard not to say something sometimes. Like, I find it really hard not to say something when these dudes are trying to tell me that AI had nothing to do with that image. It's just so funny to me. And then they spurg out for like a fucking hour about it. It's like that gif where it's like, I am a surgeon. Like, fucking, it's not AI. It's not. Look at it. Look, it says it's not a. You're cognitively dissonant. You're being cognitively dissonant because it says right here that it's not AI. Nothing you say will ever make it AI. Like, dude, it looks like it's fucking AI. It's actually kind of hilarious interacting with those guys. I'm seriously tempted to do more of it. I might like start seeking out Eric July posts just if I'm bored. Seek out the Ripa fans. Freaking Eric July, he has his YouTube. He does his YouTube subscriptions, but he also has a Mac Club, right? And the Mac Club members get like 15% off of merchandise. But they're paying like $20 a month, $50 a month, some crazy shit in some cases. Because they just want to support Eric July and the Ripaverse, man. Like, they want to make it so that Eric July can get by while the Ripaverse runs at a fucking deficit, basically. They're keeping the lights on at Ripa's house. Just in case he really is bad at business and his fucking comic book company dries up, or if paying his employees and paying the rent on that warehouse gets to be too much, he's always got the Mac Club. It's kind of funny. If I was going to be jealous of Eric July, maybe I am a little jealous of Eric July, it would be over the fact that he was able to pull all that shit off. Because how many people can? How many people can pull off basically having a fucking cult online who does not hold you to any sort of standard? I would love that. Like, if I had a bunch of people who just drank my piss and loved it, that'd be amazing. But I'm never going to have that. I'm never going to have that. I'm not a good enough dancer. That'll be the response when they're like, you're just jealous of Eric. You're jealous that Eric had a $5 million campaign. I'm like, first of all, who the fuck wouldn't be jealous of running a $5 million campaign? You know what I mean? You generate that much fucking hype? Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Alright? But that's not why I'm picking on Horseman. Alright? I'm picking on Horseman because he's got 7 fingers. Ugh. Internet, can you hear me? Will you watch me draw? Maybe I should tweet about it. you squeaking over there? You got a little ball? I'm not gonna play ball with you right now, buddy. Sorry. Sorry I expressed interest in what you were doing. Alright? My German Shepherd gets very excited when I look at him. He would catch a frisbee for freaking 12 hours a day nonstop if I let him. Am I drawing or am I looking at Twitter? Oh yeah, I was gonna post a fucking link. Hold on a second. Everywhere. Sunday morning, eggs and drawing. I did have 2 eggs before I started drawing, but that's the name of the stream here. Oh, let's scroll Twitter, shall we? Oh, I have a viewer now? Holy shit. That's great. Oh, no, wait. That's probably me. Because I was looking at my own screen. If you're an actual person, say something. Can I chat? Okay. I can only chat through YouTube. I'm going to assume that one viewer is actually just me from 2 seconds ago. Yeah, that's right. 0 viewers. Man, how can I... get the chat? I really got to get like 2 screens. I got to get a 2-screen setup so that I can organize everything. Because it's like I can't scroll Twitter and look at freaking chat on my thing. Here we go. I think I figured it out. See, this is the war that's going on. Where you got Ethan Van Sciver in All Caps Comics trying to like dissect the Ripa fans. Like, the war's been ongoing for so long. Like, it's just gonna keep perpetuating itself. Like, BlackRock would be obsessed with this, like, if they could monetize it. Dude, holy shit. I have a couple of family members that got SIGs.
You got a whole crib in here with a TV. Hold on. We was about to be locked in here, bro. No. Yeah, it's that one. I thought they get in.
Mira,
People can live anywhere.
viviendo aquí.
Yeah, that makes sense. This one was a way less freaking weird mistake than the other Horseman thing. You're right, Joe. Great point, dude. Some of these people are really going over fucking everything with a fine-tooth comb. I'm not that fucking tied up in it. What can I say about Bosch Foston? He feels very strongly about 9/11. That's all I can say about that. I mean, look. I almost envy people who can look at the world in terms as black and white as this picture, you know? Like, we were attacked, that is all. These people hate us, that's all you need to understand. And it's like, yeah, they were villains, yes. Horrible, tragic event, yes. I do think it's a little odd when you make Pigman. But who am I to judge? You know, it's tough because I like Ethan Van Sciver, and I actually agree with him to a certain extent. But how much energy does he have to keep doing this stuff? I don't know. We'll see. Because the one thing that Eric July is kind of doing right is not addressing anything, is not interacting at all himself. His followers do it all for him, right? He's not fighting a battle. He just adopted a general mindset of fuck Ethan Van Sciver, and so people naturally just keep fucking tweeting about late books and shit. And he never has to address any actual criticism. Which, hey man, if you're gonna dig your heels in and do it that way, at least you're committed to it, you know? If your comic book company is successful, ultimately, AI or not, you know, you'll have the last laugh, right? So yeah. Ethan's a great artist, very entertaining dude. I think he's a fairly honest dude. Plenty of people disagree with me on that. Definitely an asshole, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We'll see. We'll see if I ever actually have any interactions with Ethan. What sucks is that, like, I've come to realize that as soon as I start criticizing anybody for anything, I'm their enemy. Oh, is Beowulf going at it with Enlightened Fan now? Who's Beowulf? I've seen that avatar before. Uh-huh. See, how does this dude, this Enlightened Fan guy, is committing so much energy to this shit? See, he's going after this guy, calling him a froglet. These guys have been fighting this. This is what happens when you fight a fucking internet war, okay? Your mind gets twisted around and you start having arguments with people as if they represent a fucking movement, you know? Like this Zed Chill Man. Should I even bother going to the fucking top of this? Yeah. Dude, I mean, look at this shit. So, this guy makes a post about Palestine on August 18th. Okay? Enlightened Fan, in his enlightened way, decides to post this fucking bullshit video. which was just produced by people who hate Ethan Van Sciver, and produced by more people who are fighting this stupid fucking war. I got you so angry from my opinion that you posted this video I've already seen on a completely unrelated tweet from months ago. Very cultish behavior, right? He said this because he posted to something that Zed posted back in August, right? That video came out 10 days ago, says Zajaspisk. J-Biscuit. Yep, but this guy is so full of Ripa derangement syndrome. Not only did he not even bother to watch the video, but he didn't even bother to look at it. Juju really has the dumbest followers. Dude. You're retarded. By that logic, you all use everybody as one. It's not really an insult at this point. Dude, it's so fucking stupid. This dude is so stupid, it's fucking painful. Dude, I'm actually gonna follow this guy now. You seem like a chill man, Zed Chill Man. Alright, so he's got a Canadian flag. British Columbia? Yeah, that's Canada, right? Surrey sounds like a Canadian town. Yeah, Canadian-born citizens. Yeah, he's a fucking... He is a right-wing Canadian man. Big King's Gold Sky. God damn it. Now I gotta read this wall of text. Just to see if he's saying this about Mandy or fucking... I don't care enough. Am I still live? Yeah, I guess so. Feels good to have no viewers. It feels freeing, you know? There's a sense of freedom to know that I'm not actually, like, being judged by anybody. Nobody can judge me. No one's even fucking looking. Kaylee Williamson is the first woman with Down syndrome to complete the New York Marathon. What took so long? I know there's at least 5 or 6 people with Down syndrome who could have done this sooner. But good for her. Dude, good for her. What's she
To have a
saying?
I think that politics has substituted religion to some extent. People have
some
almost
people.
like this religious zealotry toward their political beliefs. And when that happens, it's really difficult to have a conversation with someone without it immediately devolving into allegations of bad faith, of lying, deception, all sorts of things. And so maybe that's part of it. But honestly, I didn't really notice this as an
Anna, it's not just politics. Okay? It's also independent comic books.
issue in America until Donald Trump was running for president and then after he got elected as president. And I am 1 million.
Oh shit, I forgot to actually finish watching her talk. That's fine. It's been nice to see Anna Kasparian evolve with her beliefs. I think I remember her saying that she did it. She started questioning her left-wing belief system after she was humped by a homeless person outside of her house and laughed at. Like, he freaking ran over, started humping her, just rubbed his dick all over her ass, and then laughed at her and ran away. And then ever since then, she's come to realize that her hatred of Donald Trump was misplaced. And I'm glad she finally got there. She maybe could have figured it out sooner under different circumstances, but she got there. She got there. Batman is seen as one of the symbols of all the things wrong with DC with 90s comics. Especially people hated it back then and were very critical of it. I don't know, man. I see a lot of people criticize the Horseman design. Who's criticizing the Horseman design? The design's not terrible. He's just like a freaking geared out SWAT officer with a horse mask. have to disagree with you on the Azrael Batman run. It was part of one of the best storylines of the 90s. The costume was awesome, and everyone I knew was excited about it. Seeing a more unstable, brutal Batman was a fun change in the book. The build-up to Bruce's return and slowdown with Azrael was much anticipated. Shout out to Joe Q for designing, Joe Cruzada, I guess, for designing such an over-the-top costume that hit at the right moment. Yeah? Yeah, man, you can't just, you gotta mix it up sometimes. And Azrael Batman, I mean, I wasn't reading Batman comic books at the time. I was into, like, X-Men, and so my first comic books were X-Men in the 90s, because I loved the, and it was before the animated show, actually. I remember I learned how to read, because my uncle was a huge comic book fan. The first comic book I ever bought was Silver Surfer #1 from a freaking flea market. And I was fascinated with that shit. Loved it. And then branched out and got some X-Men stuff. I would find comic books from like Walmart and everything. Growing up in rural Virginia, and you know, we didn't like go to comic book shops or anything. Like, I would find comic book shops at the grocery store. It's a shame. Shame it's not that way anymore, man. Real shame. What are you saying? Seth Meyers was quiet.
Economy?
It is tough love time for the Democratic Party. I think it needs to be stripped down and rebuilt. I think that means a change in leadership. I want to know who thought it was a good idea that Joe Biden stand for another 4 years at 80 years of age and 37%
where was this before the goddamn election? Like, this is what bothers me. And like, okay, the Anna Kasparian clip from earlier touched on this a little bit, where people take their arguments like religious, like they're on their side and they are morally superior and that's it, right? And so on the comic book side of things, we have Rippaverse fans who are like, hey, he's making comic books and we like him, so fuck you, and all criticism is bullshit. And then the CG side, who's like, look, the success doesn't matter if the art sucks. And they're both, like, half wrong. Because the success does matter if he's able to actually keep the money. Like, some people say his overhead's way too fucking high, but I don't know anything about that. But you have people like that enlightened fan guy, all that, who, oh, thanks, chill man. The enlightened fan guy and these guys who will fight to the death to try and prove that something is not AI if it looks AI, and who will accuse you of being in a cult. And yeah, that attitude is what led the Democrats to not have a primary and to not notice that Joe Biden was fucking a geriatric dipshit, you know? Anywho, sounds like my family's home. I'm gonna end this stream. I love all my 0 viewers. I'm really glad you guys showed up. I'll see you in heaven. You know, that's where you are.